I saw that earlier. I was hoping nobody else did.
And our last speaker for today is RBaum. Good morning. So I'm RBaum, and I completed my senior project on interior design. Well, art is something that has always been so amazing to me. I love art so much, but unfortunately, I lack some of the artistic abilities that some students might have. So I was trying to think of something. What can I do with art that isn't necessarily me painting a picture or drawing or something like that? I thought of interior design. And my stepmom, who's an architect, also had an influence over that on me as well. But I think that being able to create a space that is functional and beautiful for so many reasons is such an amazing, you can make so much more with the room than you actually think. Like, it creates such a mood and you can do so much with it. And I think that's really important. My question in my giant research topic was, what are the implements of technology in interior design? Because when you think about interior design, it's like, okay, so you put a couch over there and you paint the walls this color. And there you go. But I was wondering, what goes on more from the past when we would just sketch up an idea on pen and paper, and what have we grown to have now? Some of the technology ideas, and what goes behind it. And through my internship, I had a lot of ideas, and that's what thinking about what question I was going to ask. So my internship was with Anne-Marie Smith. She's based out of Williamsburg. And she works at Guernsey Tinkle architect firm and interior design and staff interior designer for them. And she taught me so much. She was such an amazing person to learn from. What she taught me was there's different types of interior designers, like work for businesses, or you can work for hospitals. But then you also have like residents that you would work for. And she taught me that a lot of times one or the other, but fortunately with her job, she was able to interact in so many different ways. And I thought that was really interesting. Of my internship, I was kind of just shadowing her. I sat behind her in her office. I was like, what do you think about this carpet design for? And I thought it was interesting, but it wasn't exactly what I thought I was going to be doing. Something more. So on my last day, she came in with a giant project for me. And she was so excited to tell me about it. And I was so excited to hear about it. And she was like, so I have this resident, and she showed me all the different layouts for everything. And you can see like all the different things that I'm having to look at for it. And what their ideas were. And I was so excited because she wanted me to put together a plan all by myself. She taught me how to do dimensions. She gave me like but she let me create an entire new floor plan for someone's master bedroom, bath, and closet. At first I was like, okay, I'm thinking of cost. I know they can't use anything if it's super expensive. I'll just move the bed over here. This looks nice. Like little things like that. Like I guess I can get rid of a wall or something like that. And she was like, no, I want you to think bigger. Like I want you to do there. And I was like, okay, all right, you really want me to do this? Completely redid the entire room. And this picture over here, this was originally an entire walled off closet completely. And I know, I was like, this is really expensive. They'll never be able to do this. But she wanted me to walk out of my comfort zone and really create something like a special space. It was so fun to be able to just leave everything that I thought about this room behind. She was like, I just want you to forget the entire design. Make something that you think is beautiful. I'm going to do. And she gave me some keywords to look up that I didn't exactly know. Modern minimalist, minimalist stuff. I had to look stuff up. And that's when I came up with pictures to inspire what she was doing. And she was really impressed. And it took a long time because you had to and all this amazing stuff, but it was really, really exciting. So after I was done with my internship, she emailed me and she sent me the final plan. and it was really, really close to what I had designed, except for save like a little bit of money that, but she wanted me to do it. And she even used some of my original pictures, and I thought it was so exciting to be able to see like good and like it was something that she could actually use. And the pictures that I was looking up were the right type of pictures, and I just loved that I was able to create something with her, really present to these people, and they loved it. And this kind of feeds into like the technology, because in mine I was just roughly sketching things out with like trying to figure out all the different stuff, and I would go over to the copy machine, like I was literally cutting things out and just like taping it to things and to make things, which was like what she did when she was first learning, because they didn't have that technology. But then we go to her designs where she can use the new type of technology, doing all these amazing things. And it was really fun to learn like her side of the newer technology from the older technology. And I asked her while I was working there, what have you seen? Like, what's the biggest difference about the technology and interior design? And she told me, the collaboration process is something that a lot of people don't think about in interior design, but there's so much that goes on. Like I said, I was moving walls. Like how your engineers, you need to talk to your architects. So having the new technology that they do now, they're able to layer so many different things so much better and so much cleaner and so much safer too. Because with the new safety is something that plays a really important role. A couple of the other things that she taught me that I thought were really cool, because you're able to see different angles with the technology that she was using. We worked side by side with her, and I thought that was really cool, because he was more of the technology side and she was more the design aspect. So it was really fun to be able to see them work next to each other. So this was some of more like what he would do, like adding in different angles and all the other stuff and comparing it. This too is just like another. So for my community service, I was able to work with Tracy Clark, which is a librarian here, in my community service area, which is really cool. So I wanted to be able to do something at the school that people could notice for years, like creating something that not only the community can use, but the school can use and the students can use and the teachers can use. And I asked her, I was like, well, what do you want to see in here? And she was so open about everything. It was so amazing to be able to work with her. I was like, no, like I want to know what you want to think. Like, what do you think is so important? Like, what do you see the possibilities of the library being? From the bar that we have over there, where students can now, which they got a grant for, which is amazing, and I think it's beautiful. But I talked to her and I was like, okay, so what should we do? And she asked me, she's like, well, I want paint, and I want it to be like more welcoming, and I want it to be inviting in here, and I want students to be able to come in here and actually, like, so many online classes these days where students, they have a classroom, but they want to be able to talk to each other, and sometimes it gets too loud. So I think it's really important for the online students and be able to sit down quietly and work. You want to have a place where you can think. So I think that color was really important, like painting murals. So we have this wonderful room back here that we talked about. So we want to paint murals in there. And we want to be able to create different study spaces, since it is such a huge room. But we also have to consider, testing is still going to be taking place in there for SOLs and things like that. So we couldn't exactly just close everything up. Walls like this that are open and stuff like that can create so many more study spaces. And I think that's really important to have, which hopefully we'll be able to talk to the building trades too. That way we're not only collaborating with like in the school libraries, but we're talking to the building trades like we did with the bar. And then we have the art students being able to come in. And it's just so much something beautiful, and I think that's so important. And pictures, because we have so much beautiful artwork that you can see is already being shown. Wonderful and beautiful. But to have even more would just be fabulous. So I also asked some of the teachers, I was like, well, what would you want to see in a library? Because it's not only the students, like the teachers come in here and they use the space too. Having like the interactive table. So what if we got like dry erase boards to put over the table so they can really like show their students things? For my community service, and obviously we still have a lot of work to do that we just need money for, which is other more grants and things like that. But being able to create a space like that and creating a legacy that can stay forever and just continue to grow as things go on. And this space is just amazing to be able to do it. So why was it significant? I think it was significant because a place for the entire school, like students and teachers and librarians, and just have more presentations like this. Like the more beautiful it is, the more nicer everything. What I learned. So I learned a lot about interior design. And I learned a lot about working in an office, which I didn't think that I would like being in an office space as much as I did. I don't want to work in like a cubicle office area. I want to be able to like go out, and that's kind of what I thought interior design work, like they'd be able to just like they work from home, go to all these other spaces and be able to make something beautiful. And it wasn't like that at all. But I just learned that maybe interior design is for me, or maybe it's not, because I want to do more of a aspect of it. So online designing kind of. So that's kind of what I learned, that maybe what I wanted to do isn't exactly what I thought I wanted to do. I also learned that picking something, I know a lot of people have said this, but picking something that you truly and absolutely love is so important. Upcoming students is if you pick a topic that you're kind of okay with, you're not going to love it as much as something that you feel super passionately about. And that you are going to come into so many problems. It's going to work out how you think it's going to work out. Because originally I was going to work with a newspaper, and I'm so glad I changed my mind, even though that's a wonderful choice. Changed my mind. And for my community service, I was going to do something completely different. And every time I came up with something, I got shot down for it. Not take it so personally and just say, okay, well, it's not going to work out, so what can I do? So you have to learn to be a problem solver, and I think that's really important that governing school teaches us to do. And I've been accepted to Savannah College of Art and Design, VCU, and JMU. Haven't decided which college I will be going to yet. I think that I would love to learn more about designing online and marketing or social media platforms. So I can't wait to see what I decide to do. So I think painting is so important, because I think that with a colorful wall, I think it could be so much more brighter in here. Tastefully colorful, not like orange or pink wall. But I think that that's important, and I think like just making the welcoming them in and having a place where they can come and feel more creative is really important. So I think prioritizing the painting. Yes.
I just want to thank you, Riley, because I probably have spent 5 classes.
I think it's so yes, but since the amount of online classes that are coming up to come, because I think sometimes people forget it's an online class, they don't need to be talking to each other, but like no, your teachers want you to be able to collaborate with each other. It's important since you're not in a regular classroom setting. So I think that having that space too, but also a space where you can work quietly, is so important. Is a really great place for that to happen. And I think this year specifically is great to start doing all that. Yeah.
I think you've hit on something really interesting here, because there is, for the last several years, there's been a trend of turning libraries that have previously been, turning them into what we call maker spaces for exactly the kind of activities you've described: student collaboration, working on projects. I would kind of turn your technology question around a little bit and ask you, if we were to turn this into a makerspace, the aesthetics of this location incorporate to facilitate student creativity and student learning.
Okay, yeah, so I think that like the functionality of the space is also important. Like you want it to look beautiful, but you want it to have a purpose. That we were looking at, we wanted them to be almost like a foam style board, or a dry erase board, or a chalkboard. So creating a tiny space that you can get work done, but you're creating like a space where you can create completely new ideas and you can study and you can put your flashcards up there, you can write with your notes, how to study. And I think that's something important. Like having these spaces, you can be able to teach your groups like how to study. Because when you go to college, you have a lot of little study groups. The place to start here is being able to start those now and learning how to do it. And by having things like that, you're creating a more creative.
Yeah. So what technology would you include in that space?
So when I was talking about the tables, and I said, you know, like do a dry erase tables, they have these amazing like interactive tables. You know what I'm talking about? So I mean, that would be amazing to have like something that you can look at. You can teach your students just all get around. It is such an expensive thing, but things like that, or even having I think like I know we do have our computers, a single space to like see what's going on for students to learn more about. I think that would be great.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions?